Epilogue. Jack gripped his fishing boat and bent low, pressing his shoulder into the stern. "All right, lads, put your backs into it," he called to Ian and David, who flanked the boat on either side. They trudged forward, the hull carving into the sand. Icy water lapped at Jack's calves, swallowing the shore out from beneath his feet. A moment later, the surf barreled forward, churning once more around his legs. This dance continued until they had moved the boat beyond the ocean's hungry reach. He straightened and stretched his back, then wiped at the beads of sweat on his forehead with the back of his hand. "Are you well?" he said, sitting down on the sand next to David, who was trying to catch his breath. David's white hair stood on end in the wind. Dirt and dried salt streaked his ruddy face. He looked at Jack warmly. "I would be lying if I said that I've never felt happier. However, if I cannot have my Annunziata at my side, then I can tell you with the greatest sincerity, there is no place I would rather be." Jack smiled and fell back in the sand. The hot summer sun had begun to dip behind the horizon, making way for cool evening breezes which poured off the waves. The music of the calm ocean matched the beat of his heart. "Look!" Ian called. "Here they come!" Jack sat up. His lassies splashed through the ebbing waves while Bella and Rose walked a little behind, both with deep baskets strapped to their backs to carry the day's catch back to their croft. A slow smile curved Jack's lips as he watched Bella approach. Water lapped her bare feet. The wind whipped her tunic against one side of her body, hugging her curves. His eyes traced along the outline of her sleek waist and the flare of her hip. Her hair, streaked with pale gold, lashed out behind her, lifting and tangling in the salty air. Her eyes locked with his. A smile, sweet and sensual, curved her lips as she drew closer. When she reached his side, she sank to her knees and pulled the basket from her shoulders. Then she lay her head on his chest. He closed his eyes and savoured the feel of her, more precious to him than anything he could have ever imagined. He wrapped his arm around her and stroked her hair. She raised her head and looked at him, her pale green eyes luminescent next to her skin now deeply tanned by the sun. He grazed his fingers down her soft cheek and throat, then slowly over her shoulder. He frowned when he noticed a hole in the sleeve of her tunic. He absently picked at the frayed threads. "Do you miss your life the way it was?" he said. "Your fine tunics and servants." Her eyes widened for an instant, and then grew serious. She cupped his cheeks between her hands.
"You listen to me, Jack MacVie. All I want is you."
She sat up and pointed to Rose and the lassies, trying to get as close to the waves as they could without getting wet.
"And them,"
she said, laughing. Then she jumped to her feet and spread her arms wide, smiling at the heavens.
"And this,"
she cried.
"Sandy shores, crashing waves, Jura's mountains in the distance."
She plunked down in the sand once more and wrapped her arms around his neck, pulling him to lay back on the sand.
"Look,"
she cried. He followed her outstretched arm, pointing to the sky at a golden eagle soaring into the clouds. Then she touched his cheek, drawing his gaze. Her warm breath caressed his skin.
"Thank you,"
she whispered. "For what?" he asked, his voice low.
"For giving me a wonderful life."
If you would like to discover the next Scottish Outlaw, keep watching. Feel the pulse of the Highlands.
A murder has been committed, and I, Lady Katerina Ravensworth, stand accused. I must run. I must hide. My one glimmer of hope is that I am not alone.
Disguised as a Benedictine monk named Brother Augustine, I, Quinn MacVie, Scottish rebel, walk straight into Ravensworth Castle. My mission? To kidnap Lady Katerina. But when blood is spilled and Katerina blamed, she willingly allows me to secret her away from her home. At least, she allows Brother Augustine. Some might wonder how she'll react when she discovers her saviour is no celibate monk. but a red-blooded Scottish rebel. Quinn and Caterina are on the run. Join them, bear witness to their struggles and triumphs, and lose yourself deep in the wilds of the Scottish Highlands. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to enjoy more videos like this one, click the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel. See you next time out in the Highlands.